I also think that one of my great spiritual heroes is Muiya Den ibn al-Arabi, 13th century, 14th century Sufi mystic, um, who envisioned what he called a series of way stations as we, both in this life and beyond this life, in different dimensions that we reach, we rest, we move on. We rest, we move on. So another way that we could have multiple lives right
But
now
what is the
and
collective?
immediately.
What is the collective conscious though?
Oh,
Like,
can I say this first?
yeah, go ahead.
And then is I don't think most people have realized that we, right now, we are each other.
We're one.
We are one, having multiple lives. So, what is a collective consciousness? Jung's term for what is beyond the ego, but still, of which the ego is an expression, the individual person is an expression, was the collective unconscious. But he was eager to point out that what we call the unconscious is not unconscious. We are unconscious of it most of the time, as we are of most everything, actually. But it is conscious of us and can influence and does influence us. So that's why I call it, rather than Jung's term, the collective unconscious, I call it the collective consciousness.
Hmm.
And I don't know how far that goes. I think it goes way beyond human being.
So you don't see the unconscious as like our minds necessarily running wildly. You see the unconscious as another outside entity that's aware of who we are, that tries to influence us.
Yeah, I see it as kind of potentially infinite space, quote unquote, in which there are all kinds of conscious entities that I think there is a conscious entity, huge, that encompasses all of these individuals and manifests as them. But yeah, I think there are multiple levels to it, just as there are multiple levels to our own more parochial individual psyches.
Mm.
I think the place is packed with consciousness and conscious individuations of consciousness.
So you think to a degree we're puppets, or we're like we're capsules. We're
interacting, I would
Okay.
say. Yeah, I think we're in partnerships that and I don't see us as puppets any more than other entities are puppets. But we're all interacting with each other in complex ways as persons and as personish, because I don't think all of the inhabitants of what we're calling the collective consciousness is personal in the fullest sense. I think there's such a thing as personish. That's where I would put the archetypes, by the way. I wouldn't call them persons. But I mean, to the extent that I think we're all part of somebody's plan,
Yeah.
in that sense, we're influenced, I would say. But I also think that we influence. So I think my own experience, for example, I'll use the colloquial term God. I call it God.
Yeah.
My experiences of that, as well as other, for want of a better word, spirits, is one of mutuality and partnership. It's co-creating. Of course, it's not an equal partnership because there's little
Yes.
me and then there's the big,
Big
but yeah, but it feels more like an interacting partnership, whatever it may be.
Okay. So do you think we have free will?
Oh, wow. Yes and no. Okay. No, in the sense that everything is one, always has been, is now, always will be. In other words, in timelessness, spacelessness, it just is. It just is. So that the unfolding of the isness, the eternal, and by eternal, I don't mean series of moments. I mean just is eternal now. In that, of course, there can be no free will because it just is. Everything that ever has been, is now, or will be, is in one moment, one. So, but on the other hand, I think it's like a coin. If you look at that side of the coin, everything is determined. Everything is what it is because it is just that. The other side of the coin, though, feels like free will. And it's as if we have some degree of free will anyway. And as if is good enough, because whoever is behind all of this is more than happy, it appears, to make what is into time and space in which there feels like there's free will. And if God thinks of something as if it were, as if it had free will, then it has free will because God has infinite capacity.
Yeah.